you've got a community called Mavericks.
Yeah.
And they're crazy, by the way. So for those of you listening, I've been there, been in it. They love to have fun. They're amazing people, and they're a random the business. Like I remember the one woman I became very good friends with. I think she runs dry cleaners.
Yeah, but like the best dry cleaner, one of the best in the world.
She's
organic,
such a
cleaning.
And when she told me that, I'm
all
like,
these celebrities go to her. Like,
I was like looking at her like, what are you doing here? Like, isn't this an internet marketing thing? Like, I was just completely confused. But hey, I was on Necker Island and on Sir Richard Branson in his home, so I was like, I'll just deal with it. But so here's the deal, right? So you've seen here at the Learn Center, you've walked around. I've lightly told you my vision. Then I have this thing called Learn Nation, this community I want to build that's a virtual Learn Center. Basically, I want to build this community where people are drawn to support one another, to connect with one another, to have this like obsessive relationship to support one another. You've done it, and I want to learn from you how we can do that. So tell us a little bit you've told us about what Maverick is, and for those of you listening, we'll tell you how to become a part of it in a bit, but how do I do that? How do I build a community like that?
So let me, I'll draw you a diagram.
Yep.
Because I think, and this is based on what we were talking about before, so we've since changed this now where it's a tree instead. It used to be a dollar sign. But because it means growing yourself, growing your business.
So if you're listening to this, he's drawn a circle with a tree in it.
Circle with the tree.
Another circle that overlaps that circle with a heart.
And I've since learned this is called a Venn diagram.
I was gonna say it looks like the Olympic.
So you got three interconnected circles. One's a happy face, one's a heart, one's a tree. And so this is about growing yourself, making a difference in the world and having some fun in the process. So that's kind of where that overlaps. That was what Maverick was like. That's the core DNA.
Okay.
And then what came out of that whole adventure of meeting these amazing people from these trips and experiences, and my wife asking, "What the hell are you doing?" were all these little pieces of, I almost went out of business essentially trying to figure out what the heck I was doing.
Yeah.
Because there was something more that kept driving me, and it starts with, this is like these questions that you've been asking. So this is about you. So evolving yourself. It has to start with you as the founder. It has to, this is continually working on how do you become a better.
So real quick, you said something that caught my attention and then I blanked out. So you said you almost went out of business. So all that money that you had made as an internet marketer, were you at risk of losing all of it when you were trying to build this?
No, we had a pretty solid savings account.
Okay, all right.
Right, but my wife is pretty security conscious. Like she's not really excited to go dig into that.
Yeah.
Right, but as far as like where what the internet company was really funding what was going on here.
Got it.
And so it wasn't standing on its own. Yeah. If I was a regular consultant to a regular client, I would have been like, what the hell are you doing?
That's
this
true.
has to be on its own. This has to, but there was something more that kept pushing me. And when I figured this part out, it actually grew, like we turned it around and something like an 824% change, like made it a big difference. And this is getting to your question. This is a long way of getting to it because you have to know, I think, these pieces. And this is what became the Evolved Enterprise. So the next ring out is cause. And this is the impact that you want to make in the world. And if you ask any entrepreneur, if they've been around for a while, there's something more driving them. It's not just the profits. It's not just that they saw a market condition and they want to jump in there. At some point, they're either originally started because they want to make a bigger difference in the world, or they figured out like, this is what I want to do with my next venture or whatever it is. But this cause, so that's the impact that you want to have. And Simon Sinek talks about why. So this is like their why. And for you and Learn Nation, it sounds like this is driving entrepreneurs to, like, tell us, what is your mission?
Yeah, so it's about, so there's 3 words I use, and it's basically inspire, empower, connect. Right, so I want to inspire people into the world of entrepreneurship if they're afraid of it. I want to empower them with the content and the information they need to get to the next step, but then I want to connect them with one another. And I feel like if we do those 3 things, the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, so yours is, so inspire, empower, and connect. Awesome. So that would be in your cause here, and then everything actually starts going from there. So it's like, we can't you can, but then it gets more tactical, is you can isolate, okay, how do you build a community? But it has to be done in this bigger context. And even you evolving, like I noticed, and I've seen this, and I still see this, is like you're like, yeah, no, there's a bigger part that I want to play in this unfolding picture of what entrepreneurship can be. I even see, on the wall, like empower. I think it said 1 million entrepreneurs by 2019.
Yeah,
like that's what gets me excited to want to talk to you and help you and help, even propel you a little bit more. So our cause is changing the way business is played. So that's our big mission. And then this final outer ring is the culture. And you've been, really leaning into this. This is like, okay, what's the bigger vision? What's the core values? What's the way that we show up? And I used to think this was complete BS, right? Yeah. And I'd have friends like
corporate talk.
Yeah, I'd have friends like Tony Hsieh from Zappos, and he's like, no, this is all we talk about. This is, culture. And Chip Conley, who founded Joie de Vivre Hotels, which is the second biggest hotelier, boutique hotelier in the world. And he's like, no, this is the only thing. And then guys like Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley, he's like, no, this is all I focus on. I'm like, I don't get it. This is kind of BS. This sounds really fluffy. Yeah. But then when you start digging into this, it is everything. And culture also shows up in how you treat your customers and everything else.
Yeah.
So then you also have your creation, which is the product or service, and how do you bake in that cause? So how do you bake in this inspiration and empowerment and connection into every product or service? And then we have our community. So this is the Evolved Enterprise Framework. And this is like, how do you get your customers become your biggest zealots, advocates, fans, so that they're super fans and want to just, want to shout from the rooftops about what you're doing. They want to be like, I remember we had one guy at a Maverick event, and they said that new customers were 80% of their customers came from social shares. So it was like they could spend so much less on marketing and advertising because they were able to use that. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's, when you get this part right, that's where you get this turbo boost happening. So, I didn't want to put that in isolation, but that's how it fits into the whole framework.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And so it's funny because of all the things, community was the last thing you said, because you got to address all these things before, I guess, you can really get that community going.
Well, yeah, I mean, so this is, this happens first, then this, and these are concurrent.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's not like, okay, I'm going to work on culture, and then when I get culture right, then we'll work on our community. But you can work on all of them concurrently at this level.
So it's funny. So let's look at this outer ring, because I'm having a bit of a mind epiphany moment, and I want to talk it through. You've got, on the outer ring, you've got creation, culture, and community. I was on a call, I was actually texting on Facebook Messenger with this guy, Alex Hillman, for anyone looking to build a co-work space. Really, really nice guy. Look him up. And I don't know, I found him randomly. He has a podcast all about how to build a co-work place. I didn't even realize this was that big of an industry. But and that's not what we're doing here at Learn. I don't want to build a co-work space, but I do want to build a community.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what co-work spaces have and teach is applicable. Like, I can learn a lot from them. And I started listening to his podcast. All he talks about is culture. And he talks about how they treat their members and the lingo and the things that they know, and it was all culture, community culture. And I'm looking at this, you say creation. Well, I created this place. It's here.
That's part of your creation.
It's ready to facilitate. The culture I haven't defined yet, because we actually have conversations where we sit and say, we don't want to allow them to do this.
It's there. It's just not.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, so I'll give you an example. We had a meeting where it was like, well, we don't want our members to do this. That's not, that's not part of the membership. And I took a step back and I said, but what does it really cost us, or how does it really hurt us? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, it doesn't. Like, well, why don't we just do this for them? Like, let them do it. Let them explore. And so for me, it was like this culture of trust, this culture of support. And like, would I limit my own family and my own home from, using something past 6 o'clock? Like, it's like, there are some rules, but then there are some flexibilities. And I can see how those two intermingled then almost brew the community in and of itself. But I think I would love to do some more exercise myself on the culture definition.
Yeah, and I can, we can talk about some of the specifics of how we've kind of done with our culture within the organization of our members, right? There's a really strong culture, and that's part of building a community. And there's a lot of crossover between all these things, right? That's why it's in this outer ring and it's all together. And actually, I'll just put this here as a place marker, because this is how defined our culture.
Maverick so what Yanik just did is he wrote down Maverick in a vertical way, so I think it's going to turn into an acronym, basically.
It is, and then someone else who's a school teacher told me it's called something else as well, but I don't remember because she was much smarter at that.
All right, we're going to stick to acronym.
An acronym was something, if it created a word, it was something else. I forgot what it was called. I only learned about Venn diagram recently. I mean, I just draw pictures.
I thought that was you're drawing the Olympic Olympic logo.
More.
So what's also interesting, because in case she's listening, I got to do a shout out to Missy. Hi, Missy. How are you? Because you've talked about your wife a few times. What was really cool when I went to Necker with you is how ingrained your kids and Missy were in the community. Because Missy was running one of the like the sporting things, and she was like talking to people, running around, and she came inside. She was in it. You could tell everyone knew who she was. The kids were involved. And I loved that. I thought that you really connected what is your professional career, but with your family.
Well, the kids come every year to Necker with Missy, and they've grown up there essentially, and it's been pretty awesome. Like Richard has actually had Zoe, who's the youngest one, now named. They had triplet lemurs when we were there, or like right before we were there, and he was able to. He's like, yeah, you can name them. And actually, originally we thought they were twins, and then she came up with two names, Zeus and Athena. And she was really into Greek mythology, and he's like, "Oh, you're raising a pretty brainy child there." And then he emailed me back. He's like, "Actually, it was triplets with a picture of them." And he's like, "We need another name." And like to go out of his way like that,
that is cool.
It's pretty incredible, and she loves it. And there was just a big hurricane there last year, and she was so concerned about her lemurs. And when I saw Richard in South Africa, I asked him, and I got a video for her, and he's like, "No, the lemurs are fine, A-OK, they're waiting for you." And
that's great.
And so we're excited to see them. But yeah, so Missy and my family have been involved, and I think you're also thinking about Sophia, who's my cousin. So she's really deeply involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Missy's involved, but Sophia's really deeply involved, and our moms are identical twins. So we're.
This is a family affair. I love it.
Family affair,
awesome.
For sure.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.